Good day, guys. I'll be walking us through the interface of SolidWorks and the features there. Okay, so when you open your SolidWorks, you get to this page with this interface. Then you come to File at the top left on the menu bar. Come to File, click on New to create a new file. If you want to create a part file, I'll click on Part. If I want to create an assembly, I'll select Assembly. And if I want to create a drawing, I'll click on Drawing. If I want to create a part, then I'll click on Parts. Then okay. So now to bring it to the workspace of SolidWorks. Now this is the toolbar. Rather, this is the menu bar, and these are the ribbons for tools for different sections. Ribbons for tools for different sections. We have ribbons for tools. I have the ribbon for sketch. It will bring up all the commands I need to create a sketch. The ribbon for surfaces to bring up the commands and tools I need to create surface modeling. For sheet metals, to bring up the commands I use to create sheet metals, like the jog, the edge flange, the metal flange, sketch, bend, the aim, and the likes. Same goes for wedgments, mold tools, mesh modeling, and the likes. And if I want to evaluate, I'll come to evaluate, like to measure. If I want to measure my weight, the mass of my model, or the distance of a particular part, I'll come to measure under evaluate. And some other measurements I can do here, visual section properties, performance evaluation. So we have the rest of the ribbons with their specific purposes, analysis, simulations, MPD, SolidWorks CAM. Okay, I'll be going starting with the sketch. Now, under the sketch, we have, if you want to create a new sketch, I'll click on this sketch here to create a new sketch. Then I'll select my plane. If I want to dimension, I'll use this tool. I'll click on this dimension to dimension, right? Then if I want to draw a line, I'll select this line. So I'll be showing us how to use these commands, tools for sketch, how to convert entities. We call it project geometry in some other softwares, how to project the geometry of the edge you have on a different plane to your current plane that you are working on, how to offset. All right, so let's get into it. Yes, I also want to add, I would also show us how to use the planes here and customize. Okay, let's go. I want to create a sketch. I'll click on sketch, right? So I'll select the plane I want to work on. If I want to work on the front plane, then I want to draw a line. I'll click on line. Then I can draw it about this center point here. So if I trace the point from this center, it will give me dots to guide me on the line that I want to draw. Then I can draw my line. Okay, my dimension is in, my unit is in IPH. That's inch, pound, second. When you see IPH, it means inch, pound, second. So I want to change it to mmgs, millimeter, gram, second. So I'll select mmgs here, which is the most common unit of measurement. Okay, mmgs, millimeter, gram, second. That means my mass will be measured in grams, my length in millimeters, and time in seconds. Okay, let's go again. I'll select line, I'll select my front plane. So we also have hotkeys here for commands like shortcuts. I can press L to activate my line. I can also come to customize my keyboard, the keys on my keyboard to the specific hotkeys I wish to use for specific commands. So let me draw the line again. So I have this line here. This is 130 millimeters, right? So I'll press escape to remove this excess. Now, if I want to make this line to be centered about this point, so what do? I'll over my mouse around the center of this line to bring up a dot. Can you see? I'll press Control, hold it down. I'll left click on that point. Then I'll left click on this point as well. So I want to select these 2 points. I want to make them coincidental, right? So coincident. Can you see? I've made it centralized about this point. So these are the relations. They use relations to name it here, to name constraints. These are the constraints I will use. If you want to use constraints in SolidWorks, you will not see the constraint showing up here in among the ribbon of tools here. No, it's not show up here. The constraints are going to be showing here after you have selected the particular the particular profile or sketch or line or whatever. Okay, so I've made them coincident. Then I'll click on this. If I want dimension, can come to smart dimension, and I'll click on my line, bring it down. I'll left click, and I'll type in my dimension that I want to use, 50. So that's how you dimension. So if I want to go to my dimension without having to come here, I'll just press S. It will bring up my quick or rapid tools that I can use or that I use frequently. Look at dimension. This one is to exit sketch, a line, my rectangle, my circle. If I want to draw an arc, fillet, the spline, trim, offset, and the likes. So I can press S for swift commands. S to bring up my commands. It's not me to be coming up to this place every time. Then I'll select my dimension to dimension. All right, now we can also customize our hotkeys to suit our desired keys that we want to use. So I'll click on this arrow beside these settings here. I'll click on customize. Then I'll come to keyboard. And at the front of each command, you can just click on the box at the front. Then I'll type in the desired key that I want to use. So I'll search for, let's say I want to change my dimension to D. I'll search for dimension. Then to bring up dimensions. Now, this is smart dimension. We use smart dimension for dimensioning in SolidWorks. So under smart dimension at the front, I'll just click on it. Then if I don't want to use D, I'll change it to U or whatever I want to use. And I'll click on OK. If I want to change my extrusion, I'll search for extrusion here. Or extrude rather. I'll search for extrude. I'll select this. Now we have boss extrude, we have cut extrude. Boss extrude is to add or to join. While cut extrude is to cut, to remove. So for the boss extrude, I want to change my hotkey to my desired command, my desired keyboard key. I'll just delete this one that is there. I'll type in the new one I want to use. And if there was a command that was set or that has been set, that has been specified to this particular key, like you have assigned this key, this short key to a particular command before, to give you an error. So you have to go to that key, right? Go to that command that you have specified or assigned this shortcut to, search for it, and remove, you can just delete or change the hotkey that you specified to it, to that command. Then come back to your new command and specify the particular hotkey you want to use. So I specified my extrude to E. You can do that for other commands as well. If you want to be fast with your designs. Okay, so that's for customization. Now, let me go to some constraints. Look at this line. I want to make this line vertical. What do I do? I'll click on the line. Now we'll be having our constraints, our quick constraints above the tool here in this box, this command box. Or we can also check here for our constraints called relations here. So if I click on this line to bring up relations or constraints I can use to modify this line. We have horizontal, vertical, fixed. I can make it fixed. I want it to be fixed. If I want it to be horizontal, I'll click on horizontal. Can you see it to make it horizontal? If I want to make it vertical, I'll click on this. I'll click on vertical to make it vertical, right? And if I have two lines and I want to make them parallel, look at these lines are not parallel, and I want to make them parallel, right? I'll click on this line, hold my control key, click on this other line here. Look at the list of constraints that came up, right? That I can use to modify these two lines that I selected. I'll click on parallel. Can you see they're now parallel to each other? If you want to make them equal, like they should have equal size and equal angle of inclination, I'll select the two. I'll click on equal. Now they have equal size. If you want to make them collinear, like look at, I have this line here. I have a line like this, and I have another line on another level. I want to make these two lines collinear, like they should be on the same line. How do I do it? I'll select these two lines and I'll click on collinear, right? If I want to make this line perpendicular to this line, what do I do? I'll select this line, I'll select this other line, then I'll select my perpendicular constraints. Can you see? Perpendicular. So you can just play around with the constraints that you have for the particular design that you're working with. Now, if I want to draw a square, I'll come to this rectangle tool here, drop the list, the arrow. Then I can select corner rectangle, center rectangle, 3 points, corner rectangle, 3 points, center rectangle, parallelogram. So if I want to create a rectangle from a center, I'll select this center rectangle. And I'll left click, specify my center, and I'll drag to specify my side. So for my rectangle, I want to dimension my height. I can type 30 if there's a dimension. If I want to dimension the length here, if I want to dimension the length, I'll press tab to go to the next dimension box. Now press 50, and here you go. Okay, cut something. Yes. If I want to draw, let me draw this now. If I have a profile like this without dimensions, I have not constrained this profile. They do not have dimensions. They are not fixed. So it can be moved or changed or modified easily. And that is not good for engineers. Like if you are designing on SolidWorks, your other softwares, your design or sketch should be fully defined. What do I mean by fully defined? Come down here, you see underdefined. That means my current sketch is underdefined. It is not fully defined. That means any small change I make now is going to like distort this whole sketch here. So how do I make it fully defined? And how do I know if it's fully defined? This blue color that I'm seeing here is going to turn to black if it is fully defined. So I want to edit the dimension for this now. So let me say I want to edit this to 100. Type in 100. And I would dimension this other side as well. So let's say 80. Now, can you see the color have changed to black? Now it is fully defined. Let's now check the status. The status of my sketch is now showing what? It's showing fully defined. That means my sketch is now fully defined and I can continue with whatever I want to do. So your sketch has to be fully defined for proper sketching and design. If not, you have several errors. Okay, so now let's go to the next one. So I want to draw spline. I want to draw a center line. If I want to draw a center line for like mirroring, I'll click on this center line. I'll just draw my line basically. And if my line is not straight, I will not see that vertical symbol. But once my line is straight, I'll see a vertical symbol coming up. That means, yes, my line is straight. I can place my line now. So let me draw a circle here. Now I want to mirror this circle to the other side. What do? I select my circle. I click on mirror entities. Entities to mirror. I'll select this. Mirror about. I'll select my plane. That's my center line. And I'll click on this. Now I have mirrored this part successfully. If I want to create a pattern, let's say I have this. I want to create a pattern of this circle. I'll click on linear pattern, right? So entities to pattern, I want to pattern this guy, right? Then I want to select the axis at which it should be patterned. So I'll select this axis, right? Under this first axis, I'll select this axis. Then you can see the pattern coming in this direction. So I want 5 patterns of that circle. I'll type in 5. My spacings, I want my spacings to be 20 millimeters. Then can you see them? These are you create patterns here. Then you can continue. Okay. I want to draw spline. I want to draw curved line that is not a circle. That's not a straight line. And that is not an arc. I'll select spline here. I'll select my start point. I'll select this point of curvature where I want my next curvature to happen. I'll select another point where I want my next curvature to happen. I'll select another point, right? Then I would right click and select. I'll right click and click on select. I'll create an arc. I'll come here, I'll select center point arc. I'll select the center, my start point, that's the center. I'll specify the radius. My radius should be 10 millimeters. Then I'll move my mouse over. Let's do that again. Center point arc, specify the center. Then if my radius is 10, I'll type in 10, right? Then I'll move my mouse over till it gets to 180 degrees. Then I'll click on this. So that's how you create your arc. Then you can also dimension it even after creating. Select your dimension tool, click on the arc, then specify your dimensions, wherever dimension you want to use. So if I want to use 3-point arc, like if I want to select 3 points, instead of starting from the center, I'll select the first point. I'll select the end point and I'll specify the radius. Now my radius will be specified, or the, yes, my radius will be specified when I have dotted lines moving from the first point to the end point. Now I can close my 3-point arc. That is it. So for 3-point arc, you're selecting the first point, end point, and the last point when to end. That is the radius. So that's for arcs. Now slots. I want to create slots. The distance between the 2 points, the two center points of my slots, let's say 50 millimeters. You specify the distance between the center point of the slot. Then you can specify the diameter of your slot by moving the mouse up and down. Then you can type the dimension you want to use, 25. Okay, let me clear my screen. So I want to show convert entities. So let me quickly extrude this. How do I extrude here? After creating my sketch, I'll come to features. I'll select extruded boss if I want to join. And if I want to cut, I'll select extruded cut to cut instead. So extruded join. I want to extrude in this direction. I can use the arrow here to move my extrusion. And I can also specify the dimension here. Look at the dimension box. I can type 50. You can see. If I want to extrude symmetrically about the mid plane, I'll select mid plane. Can you see? If I want to extrude an offset from your surface, I'll select offset instead. So to offset from this plane by a particular distance. If there was a surface, I would have selected the surface, but there's no other surface I can select here. So I'll just select blind back. If I want to extrude by an offset from my start point, so I want to offset my extrusion from this start point by 10 millimeters. I'll type in 10. Can you see? To move outwards by 10, and I can specify my actual extrusion dimension here. So that's that. Okay, let me create another um extrusion so that we can see another. Okay, so I want to create a plane now from this face. What do? I don't want to create a sketch on this face. Okay, if I want to create a sketch on this face, I'll just left click and I'll click on sketch. And I can draw whatever sketch I want to draw. And I can extrude from here. So if I want to cut my extrusion from here now, right? This is extruded boss, so it's not going to cut. I would click on features, then extruded cut. Then you can see the direction is going backwards. And I'll specify the depth I want my cut to go. Then if I want to use mid plane, I'll select mid plane. If I want to use blind, I'll select blind to go in one direction. I'll click on this. So as you can see, I've created an hole here. And for the mouse controls, how do I pan? You press Control and press down the middle, the scroll button of your mouse and move. Press down Control and the scroll wheel of your mouse, press it down, then move. That's how you pan. You can also specify your pan in your customize. What do I want to use to pan? I can specify it. Come to customize. Go to keyboard. Search for pan. Can you see pan? Then put the command you want to use for your pan. If I want to free orbit, that's rotate. What do? I'll just press down my scroll wheel of my keyboard and I'll do this. This is rotating. If I want to zoom, I'll just scroll up and down. That's why. Okay. I want to create a plane from this surface, from this face. What do? come to features, click on reference, the arrow, then select plane. And I'll select this face as my first reference. And I'll specify the distance I want away from that face. Look at this point here. Now click on this. If I want to create a plane that will be centralized about this face from this end to this other end, how do I go about that? I'll click on reference, click on plane, select this face and select this other face as my second reference. Yeah, let me hide this. So reference, plane. My first reference is this, right? Then my second reference. So that other plane was interrupting um my computation. So it gave an error. I removed it already. So I want to create a plane about this face and this face, about the center of these two faces. I'll select this face as my first reference. Then my second reference, I'll come and select this. And you can see my plane at the center. Boom. So let me hide this one as well. I want to create a new plane. I want to create a plane at an angle to these two faces, right? I'll click on this plane. I'll select this as my first reference. Then my second reference, I'll select this. Can you see? A plane will be created just in between these two faces. If I want to create a plane that will be inclined at an angle to this face, I'll select reference. This is my first reference, right? Then my second reference would be this, right? Let me go about that. Let me go about that again. Select this. And if I want to create at an angle to this face, right? I'll just specify the angle, right? So now this selection would give me my mid plane. So the angle was specified already, and it has been constrained to 45 degrees, basically. So I want to create an angle about this edge here. So that was my first reference, then my second reference. So can you see my angle? I've edited the angle now to 39 degrees or whatever angle I want to use. So I'm going over this again. Come to the reference, select plane, select your first reference, the face. I want to make an angle inclined about this edge. So I'll select this edge as my second reference, right? Then I'll come to this angle, click on this. I'll specify this to 60 or whatever angle I want to use. And you can see I'll press enter to make this incline to the angle I've set here. So if I want to create the angle, I'll select this. And I can draw my sketch here. Left click, click on sketch, draw whatever you want to draw on it, and you can extrude. Now, I want to extrude to this surface. How do I do it? Set your blind to the flipped direction. Extrude to what? Extrude up to surface. Which surface do I want to extrude to? I'll select this surface. Can you see? That's extruded to this surface. So you can click on, okay. Now, cut. I want to draw. Let me hide this first. So I want to create a new sketch, right? If I have my sketch like this, like I am editing, if I have my model already rotated, and I want to make this face normal to my view, what do I do? I'll select this face and I'll press Ctrl 8. Now it's give me a normal view. Okay, I want to explain something. We call it project geometry or project cut edges. But here it is called convert entities. Now I am on this sketch. Remember, I selected this face. I want to sketch on this face, right? On this face. So let me go back to my normal view. I'm on this face, but I want to make reference with these edges that I have up here. I want to make reference with these edges up here. And if I try to draw a line, it might not pick the edges exactly. So what do I do? I'll select that edge, then I'll click on convert entities. So can you see, it will project that particular edge for me on my new plane that I'm sketching on to work with. If I want to do the same here, I'll click on this edge. I'll click on convert entities. It will project that edge for me as well. If I want to project this edge too, just basically do the same thing. Convert entities. It will project that edge for you. So I can now work with these edges that I have projected. Let me select this edge again. Okay, that's basically for projects to project edges. Now, if I want to offset, let's say I have, let me quit this sketch. So I want to exit this sketch to create a new sketch. Okay, so I want to offset. How do I go about offsetting? So let me create the plane I want to work on. Okay, let's say front plane. So I have my rectangle. If I have my rectangle, let me draw the rectangle. If I have my rectangle here, and I want to offset this rectangle, like I want to create another rectangle, but I don't want to start all over. I don't want to draw the whole process and just step all over again. What do I do? After drawing the rectangle, I'll just come to offset entities, right? Then I'll select this rectangle. Let me move this. So I want to offset this, right? So I'll specify the dimension of offset that I want to use. I think I should select this again.